This analysis examines the administration of sacred spaces, focusing on the Korean temple stay program. What appears to be a simple monastic retreat represents a complex governance challenge requiring specialized oversight. Since its inception in 2002 as an ad hoc accommodation initiative, the program has evolved into a centralized national wellness infrastructure. Maintaining this network requires Buddhist leadership to navigate a dual mandate that dictates every operational decision. The first requirement is the protection of religious orthodoxy. Daily regimens and architectural spaces must adhere to strict monastic traditions. This scale illustrates the opposing requirement, the simultaneous operation of a heavily subsidized modern tourism enterprise. Operational friction occurs when the requirements of silent monastic life meet the logistical demands of high-volume visitor traffic. Beneath the aesthetic of deep tranquility lies an administrative reality that threatens to strain the institution's core spiritual integrity. Introducing commercial metrics to thousand-year-old sacred spaces creates the risk of excessive commodification. Converting religious rituals into consumable products can dilute their cultural meaning, replacing spiritual depth with market-driven utility. Administrators must maintain cultural accessibility for modern audiences without allowing the site to take on the characteristics of a secular theme park. If revenue generation becomes the primary visible driver, the temple risks a reputational decline that undermines its historical legitimacy. Balancing these economic needs with preservation is the primary objective of modern heritage governance. This shift toward commercialization is driven by specific changes in consumer demand. The target demographic largely consists of urban professionals experiencing chronic burnout and systemic stress. For these individuals, the temple environment serves as a psychological pressure release valve, offering a deliberate contrast to the high-density stimuli of urban life. Specific programmatic elements, such as forced silence and physical labor, are utilized as interventions against modern mental fatigue. This area chart illustrates a consistent upward trend in wellness retreat demand over the last 2 decades, quantifying the scale of the current consumer volume. This volume forces ancient institutions to expand their infrastructure and logistical capacity beyond historical norms. The success of the program as a wellness intervention creates the very operational strain that leadership must now mitigate. Management must oversee a network of more than 140 distinct, historically protected sites. Operational equilibrium is reached when heritage preservation and mass tourism function without degrading one another. Standardizing the visitor experience across varied geographic terrains and different temple sizes remains a significant logistical hurdle. Non-negotiable protocols are required to shield the tranquility of the environment from the physical footprint of standardized tourism. Monastic silence is a deliberate administrative output, requiring the suppression of the noise typically associated with high-volume logistics. Barriers are established to protect the resident monks from the day-to-day friction of processing visitors. Effective leadership requires the temple to function as 2 separate, simultaneous realities. The result is a hybrid institution, an ancient facade sustained by a modern administrative core. The front of house requires that all architectural spaces and daily regimens remain authentically monastic in appearance. Visual symmetry and traditional aesthetics are maintained to ensure the environment matches visitor expectations of an untouched past. Conversely, the back-of-house operations function with corporate-level efficiency to ensure logistical stability. Substantial revenue is required simply to maintain the structural integrity of millennial-old buildings. Digital booking systems, marketing analytics, and customer service departments operate behind the scenes. Tension arises where this corporate infrastructure meets the traditional monastic hierarchy, requiring specialized governance to act as mediator and prevent institutional instability. If spiritual integrity is compromised, the core wellness product loses its utility, making the entire model unsustainable. The impression of ancient tranquility is an administrative achievement, supported by a highly sophisticated modern engine. Navigating 140 temples creates a primary friction point for the modern consumer, choice overload. Requiring a modern visitor to analyze varying programs and restrictions across hundreds of sites creates a significant barrier to entry. This cognitive load is particularly counterproductive for individuals already suffering from mental fatigue. If the initial selection process becomes too complex, the consumer is likely to disengage before ever visiting a temple. Effective administration must simplify this ancient world for the modern mind. To solve this, administrators utilize data-driven analytics to categorize visitor expectations and psychological needs. This matching process aligns the specific needs of an exhausted visitor with the temple environment most suited to their recovery. Data integration bypasses the problem of choice overload, streamlining the path from the initial search to arrival. This technological layer is what enables the institution to meet contemporary demand. Invisible data support permanently prevents the historical foundation of the temple from eroding under the heavy weight of mass tourism. The long-term preservation of these heritage environments depends on maintaining this precise, data-driven operational balance.